Okay, so here's what I had done in the panel. It's really hard to film in this corner of the garage without moving everything out, and then as well as turning out the power. I'm trying to work from a headlamp, so setting up the tripod, stuff like that. I really almost need a GoPro or something on some of these projects so you can see my point of view. But just wanted to show you kind of where the breaker wiring came in. So I ran it out here at the bottom of the panel. It comes up the two feed legs, obviously for the power side of the generator, are coming into this breaker here, which is obviously off. That's what the interlock will keep this locked out while the main is on, and then once the main is off, this will be able to be turned on, which you'll see once I put the cover and everything back on. And then your common legs come in. I don't care for these types of panels that have all of the grounds and commons really condensed in one area. It makes hooking anything up after the fact really difficult if the electrician doesn't do a lot of pre-thought out planning on running the wiring really clean into that. So it's not terrible as far as my panel space, but it's starting to get really congested up at the neutral and ground bar. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's fairly cut and dry. Colors correspond out at the outside plug. The new interlock comes with some stickers and stuff to put warnings in here, of course, for what that breaker's for. I wanted to show you, so to open up and free up these two breaker spaces, because generally if you're adding this in to an existing panel, these two are going to be in use, and for that interlock to work you have to free these two spaces up for this backfeed breaker. So what I did was, it's pretty common depending on what kind of panel you got, you can get what they call a double breaker, which is two breakers into one. They're quite a bit more expensive. When I went and bought this, I can't even believe it, but they're up to $40 now per breaker, which is quite a bit more expensive than a single breaker is. But what they help you do is free up some panel space. They're pretty much what you have to do when you're running out of breaker space in a panel, which I still have some openings down low for more breakers, but I'm not wanting to try to completely reorganize the panel. What I did was I actually had a breaker up here up top being used by, I forgot when we remodeled, it actually had an old doorbell transformer still in the panel that I had not removed. So my top right breaker space was actually open. So what I did was the top breaker number one, I moved that wire over and utilized this breaker that wasn't being utilized, and then I saved my second breaker space by adding in a double breaker, double single. I've heard it referred to different ways, but that opened up my second space, and so that gave me room to put in that breaker without really rearranging and moving everything around in the panel. So that's kind of how I got it in there. I will now modify the panel cover for the interlock kit, and we'll get all that put back on and kind of show you everything once I'm done. Okay, so here's the panel cover back on. There is the interlock. I would have liked for it to have been a little bit lower to where this bar covered both of the sides of that breaker, but that's just how my panel is laid out. These knockouts at the top, the cover shows not to remove them, but even if you did, I couldn't have moved this breaker up. There's no lug there for a breaker. So this is the one for a GE generator. It still does what it's supposed to do, but like I said, I just would have liked to have had the breaker more centered up into this pocket, but it is what it is. It's going to do what it needs to do. It will not allow you to turn this breaker on. So that's what it's designed to do. Obviously I put some stickers in here to show, and I labeled it. I need to come in here and relabel this entire panel anyway, after we remodeled, but there it is. Kind of show you how it works. So it will not slide over. Your breaker cannot be turned on while the house main's on. If I turn the house main off, the breaker can now slide over and this breaker can be turned on. And then you would obviously, before you did that, during a power outage, you'd come through, turn all of your breakers off, because most generators are not going to feed an entire house panel. If it would, it's probably going to be an entire home generator. So you'd want to turn all these off and have everything hooked up and the generator running before you turn this on and all of these off, and then probably start checking it circuit by circuit depending on what you want to turn back on. So that's basically how it works. I think it's, you know, pretty self-explanatory. Then once the power is back on, move it, slide it, you turn your house main back on, and you're good to go. So hopefully this video helps you. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care and have a good day.